All right, good evening, good day, whatever time it is that you might find this broadcast, you might find this word. We say, welcome to Chosen Generation, where me and my wife are the pastors. We thank God for you coming to hear this word. If you have your Bibles, go to the book of Mark, the second chapter, and I'm going to be at the 13th verse. I'm going to be at the 13th verse. Mark 2:13. And it reads, it says, Then Jesus went out again beside the sea. The whole crowd was coming to him, and he taught them. Then moving on, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax office, and he said to him, "Follow me." So he got up and he followed him. And I'm sorry, I'm reading from the Study Bible, the Holloman Study Bible, but I do have my King James version, and I do want to read that in the King James version of it too, because I like the breakdown, but I love even this. He says, and he went forth again by the seaside, and all the multitude resorted unto him, and he taught them. And he passed by and saw Levi the son of Alphaeus sitting at the receipt of the custom, and said unto him, "Follow me." And he arose and he followed him. You know, as I was studying this lesson, I saw something, and I even took some notes. And I'm not a big note taker most of the time, and I know my wife is cheating trying to read my notes. But it says that it became to the point when Jesus was teaching in the cities where he could no longer go in the places of the cities. He had to stay on the outside in the desert places, deserted desert places. So because if he would come into the city, they would overwhelm him because of what the miracles that he was performing. And I caught a revelation, and the revelation is simple. Sometimes we were looking for the biggest thing, but I caught this revelation of this, that God is not always where you think he is, but he's in the place where you wouldn't consider him to be. And he was in the desert place. There's so many miracles that Jesus worked in the desert place. A desert place is a place that does not have what you need, but then God shows. Oh my God, that's so preachable, because God shows up in the moments where it doesn't look like he would be there. God doesn't fit the parameters of this earth, and we're in such a desperate time in all the things that are going on, but yet God still provides. That's enough right there to shout that he provides in the midst of the place where there shouldn't be provision. So the saints have to understand we have this word so that we're taught, not just in our good times, in the celebration moments where we receive all that we want, but even in the moments when things are looking the bleakest, God is yet still working. God, in the desert place where there wasn't any means, God provided the young man with his lunch, and he provided his lunch, and it became where they had leftovers. So if you don't believe that God will, God can, and he can provide even in these moments. When we look at all the structure of the things that are going on in this life, God can still provide. He can make a way out of no way. And I'm so glad that he doesn't just come in the place where it seems like he will be. It would be, simple and very understanding for him to be in the temple. But he had to stay out of the temple and go into the place where it wasn't a whole lot. So I'm glad that my God shows up. I don't know about your God, but my God shows up in places where it seems like he wouldn't be. God, I'm so glad that you provided. And he asked this man. This man was a tax collector. And I'm examining what he asked him. Come on, take up your stuff and follow me. And something this man does in the 15th verse, while he was reclining in the table of his house. So now the tax collector now prepares a meal. He prepares a meal for Jesus Christ, and now he is not doing what is normal, but doing something that's abnormal, because it wasn't normal for them to hang with these people. And even at this time, a lot of times it was like, why you do this and why you do this? Because we're not normal. We don't fit the protocol of what everybody else is doing. And I'm not trying in this season to fit somebody else's protocol. I'm not trying to follow somebody else's footsteps. I'm doing just like Jesus. He's leaning back as he's reclining. It says on the study Bible, he was reclining at the table, and he was at Levi's house with many tax collectors, and sinners were also guests with Jesus and his disciples, because there were many who were following him. And when the scribes of the Pharisees saw that he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" When Jesus heard this, he told them, "Those who are well don't need a doctor, but the sick do need one. I didn't come to call the righteous, but sinners." So here it is. Here get the good news. He came to provide for it won't just no one. Here it is. We have always tried to isolate God as that he doesn't come for all of us. He comes to heal all of us. He comes to give us all something. And I love that he did not fit the protocol of what man thought. So a lot of times, a lot of people don't understand and says, "Pastor, why do you do it this way? And why you do it that way? We should have did it this way. We should have did it that way." But I'm doing the way that God gives me, because here it is. I do not, just like Jesus, I follow his footsteps. I do what God is instructing in this season. I'm so glad that I have freedom to do what God is saying. In this, the center is the most important thing. But we have our mindsets where we are not where we believe a certain way. There's so many people, and I hear it so many times, and even when you don't say it, I still hear it. That, why he do it this way, and why he do it this way, and why they're doing this that way. But here it is, in this season, we got to be directed by God. And whatever he is saying, it doesn't have to fit the protocol of what church was before. When God gave me this particular format to have, and before we come on and we teach a word like we're teaching tonight, we have we break down the words that we previously learned, because God spoke to me and says, are they learning? Are they learning? You're preaching, you're teaching, but are they really receiving? And the only way you can receive is know that they're receiving it is through the review. If you review your life, go back and review your life and see what you have learned. Did you learn that God will be in your good moments, in your bad moments, in your medium moments, in all moments? My God is still Lord of it. And when we get to the point where we understand that just like in these places, it doesn't matter where I'm at. If it's a resource or not, God is the resource. Oh my God. And when we realize that he is the resource, he can provide when we don't know how provision is going to be made. God can make a way. If you're listening to this and you might be going through something right now, I'm here to tell you that God will provide even in the midst of your desert place. And I saw it. It says he didn't eat where they thought he should eat. He didn't teach the way they thought he should teach. He didn't set up a kingdom like they wanted him to set up. But his kingdom was the sinners. And our kingdom, our job. But seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness. And then I'll add everything else that you need. And I believe that even in the midst of all of the chaotic moments that are going on, my God is still a provider. trust him and know that he will work things out for you. Even in this season, if he did it before, surely he can do it again. He can make ways out of no ways. How do I know? I seen him work before. I seen how he provides whatever is needed. Sometimes we get to a next situation, we're like, Lord, why something else? He says, I am equipping you for something that you don't even know that you're equipped for. So Jesus was equipped to sit even at the sinner's house and have a meal and be able not to preach them, but to love them to the point where they wanted to hear him speak. What will they want from you? What will you receive from us? And we have to get to a place where God is doing something different. He's providing even in the midst of my desert places. So here, if you hear this, know that God doesn't fit the parameters of this world. The world is in the parameters of him. So know when you pray unto him that God surely can work it out. That's the word that I have for you. Be blessed, be encouraged that even in this season it may feel like all hope is gone. But God is shifting us and moving us to a brand new destination. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's see what he's saying. Let's see how we can sit at the table and he will provide what we need for in this season. Be blessed.